Hey everyone, today we are going to see how you can create and manage MCP servers through Bijira. We'll quickly go through the creation steps, MCP tools, and how you can test the MCP server through Bijira, and how you can publish and connect your MCP server to an AI agent or an MCP client. And finally, we'll see how you can convert your developer portal to an MCP hub. Alright, let's get started. So I'm at the landing page of a project in Bijira. If you have no idea how to get here, check the links in the description to see our Get Started with Bijira tutorial. Okay, so you have two main options right from the top, API proxies and MCP servers. Let's go ahead and select the MCP server option. Now you again have three options to choose from. The Import Open API Contract option lets you create an MCP server from a service you have by just providing the OpenAPI definition of that service. If you have API proxies in Bijira, you can go with the Start from Existing API Proxy option, which lets you select an available proxy in your project. You also have the option to bring your own MCP server and proxy that through Bijira using Start with MCP Server URL option. However, this option is not available at the time of this video. I'm going to go ahead with the first option here to create the MCP server. I'll provide the sample URL and click Next. I'm going to change the name of the MCP server and the target URL and click Create. So let's wait a couple of seconds until the MCP server is created. Once it's created, you'll be redirected to the overview page. You can manage the tools by going to the policy section under Develop. As you can see, this links the tools to each resource of your backend. So if I click on one of the tool icons here, you'll be able to see the information of that particular tool and you'll be able to modify those as well. And I'm not going to do any changes here. And you have the option of adding new tools as well as deleting existing tools. To test the MCP server, let's go to the MCP playground under the test section. I have selected the development environment and click connect. So it will connect you to your MCP server, and then by clicking the list tools icon, you can list the available tools. And let's just go ahead and try out one of the tools. So as you can see, it returns the expected output. Okay, now that we know it works, let's go ahead and publish the server. So before publishing, you need to actually promote it to the production environment if you haven't done so. Since I have already done it, I'll just go ahead to the lifecycle page and publish this to the developer portal. Once it is published successfully, I can go to the developer portal and see whether I can see the MCP server details. And if you go into the MCP server here, you'll be able to see the list of available tools and the MCP server configuration. To test this MCP server using an MCP client, you'll need this MCP server configuration. And since this is a secured MCP server, you'll need a valid access token as well. So let me just quickly subscribe to an application and obtain a valid bearer token. I already have an application, so I'll go ahead and subscribe to this MCP server using that. Now that I have subscribed, I will go to that application and get an access token. I can use this access token along with the MCP server configuration to set this up in my MCP client. To test this MCP server, I'm going to be using the VS Code Copilot agent as the MCP client. So I have already added the MCP server configuration along with the access token. So let me just go ahead and start the MCP server. And by looking at the logs, you can see that the VS Code was able to connect to our MCP server and discover the 5 tools that were available. So let's try to use this MCP server with the help of an LLM. So I'm going to first try and list the books that are available in my reading list. So let's see what the LLM says. So it's going to use the list books MCP tool. So as you can see, it lists the books that are available in my reading list successfully. So if I want to add a new book, I can again ask the LLM to do that. So let's just add the second Hunger Games books just to see whether you can do that. So it had added that successfully. So I'm just gonna ask it to list the book list again just to make sure it was added successfully. Okay, so you can see that the new book has been added successfully. So yeah, that pretty much covers the testing of MCP server using an actual MCP client. Before we wrap up, let's see how we can convert the developer portal to an MCP hub. Let's go to the Bijira console and go to the organization settings. And under developer portal settings, you can go to the configuration and change the developer portal mode to MCP hub. Once that is done, if you need additional theming, you can go to the theming section here and apply the relevant changes. So I'm just going to apply some changes to make my dev portal look better. And once that is done, I'm just going to publish this new theme to our dev portal. Once the theme has been published successfully, I can go to the dev portal, and if I just refresh, I'll be able to see my new theme. And you can see that the dev portal now only shows the MCP servers.